So really quickly, before I get into the presentation, I just want to go over the agenda, go over who you guys see on the panelist screen here, and then just some house rules and just some housekeeping things before we get started. So my name is Patience Wilson. I'm our digital marketing manager, and I'm going to be taking you through the CribX Vend training. With me today, I have Kevin Goodman, who is our training specialist, Melanie Lozada, who is our project manager for CribX Vend, Katie McDonald, who is our product manager for CribX Vend, and then also we have Amanda Hart on the back end, who is our global marketing manager, who's going to be helping us with questions and answers and different things like that. So again, as you guys know by the title, we are going to be doing a CribX Vend distributor training, something we've never done before. So we're really excited about this. And essentially, this is a training to get you guys excited about this product, let you guys know about all the cool features and benefits that are available, give you a really high-level introduction to it, let you know about some marketing activities that we're going to be doing that we want to involve you guys in, which is something we've never done before, and we're super excited about it. There are 2 videos that we're going to be playing during this presentation. So one right after I get done with talking, and then one at the very end, which is kind of a tour with our our training specialist, Kevin Goodman. And then at the very end, we're going to have a Q&A with all of our experts on the panel here. So just a couple things. Everyone is muted and your videos are turned off. This is just so we don't have people talking over each other. But if you do have a question, either during the presentation or during our Q&A session, make sure to drop it on the Q&A chat that you're going to see on the very bottom of your Zoom screen. It might be on the top too, but just make sure you're using that instead of the chat box, just so we have a record of all the questions in case we need to go back and follow up. And just so everybody can see those questions as well once we do answer them. So with that, I will go ahead and exit my screen here and then hop over onto our YouTube channel, which if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do. Shameless plug for the CribMaster YouTube. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get started.
Introducing CribX, a smart container that goes where the work is, wherever it is. CribX manages all your inventory in one place. At remote, disconnected sites or when space is at a premium. Increase productivity through satellite storerooms right at the worksite. Reduce equipment and asset shrinkage with 24/7 inventory tracking and prevent stockouts through automated replenishment notifications. An access-controlled container and machines plus security camera capability make CribX highly secure. CribX is built by you. Choose any mix of CribMaster machines to build your custom storeroom. All solutions easily integrate with your CribMaster system and are installed and configured for you before delivery. After custom designing your container, CribX is ready for the field. With Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity, a commercial AC heat system, and LED lights and power, CribX is the ideal satellite storeroom for any job, anywhere.
All right, you guys heard it right there. The ideal satellite storeroom that goes anywhere the work goes. And that really is one of the key points of this. But with that, I'll go ahead and get into our slides. And we're going to do about 20 minutes of this. And like I said, the last 10 minutes of this presentation are going to be set aside for Q&A. So if you're already thinking about questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat box for questions. So like the video said, CribX is the secure satellite storeroom that brings inventory anywhere. And it's not just a work site. And during this whole presentation, I kind of want you guys to keep in mind that really one of the only limits of CribX is your imagination or your customer's needs. So, this could go on all of that inventory, PPE, tools that are needed on a work site, like I said, whether that be extending manufacturing floors or on a remote job. It brings all of that into one place, so you don't have assets scattered across a job. There's one central place that, you know, all of those employees, all of those workers go to get everything they need, and then they get back out on the job. This reduces equipment and asset shrinkage, of course, because if you're familiar with CribMaster and our award-winning software and you're familiar with it, all of that inventory, all of that PPE that's in the CribX is being tracked 24/7 with the CribMaster software. And that's going to prevent stockouts, that's going to auto order for you, and that's going to make sure that everything that you're vending out of that site is accounted for. Like I said, this extends the inventory management footprint. So if you have a use case where you don't have a lot of room on a manufacturing floor and maybe you need to extend into the parking lot or next to the building, you can do that with CribX. And this is also highly customizable. So like I said, really your imagination and a couple of other things are the limit. You can do a lot with CribX. And then also it easily integrates with the CribMaster system. And I'll get into a little bit more of that later with configuration. But if you've ever used CribMaster before, even though this is a different looking solution, it's not any different than anything that you've interacted with. It's pretty simple, and you have our entire team of specialists, whether that be with implementation, training, hosting, to help you every step of the way. So like I mentioned, this does increase productivity. If you think about a job site, just as an example, they can be very messy. There's tools, PPE, everything scattered everywhere. And you might have guys going to different touch points around that huge job site to get everything that they need before they can even start working. So with CribX, what this does is it makes sure that, you know, all that PPE, whether it be vest, hard hats, gloves, helmets, glasses, different things like that, or tools are in one central place. So everyone knows to go to the CribX, get what they need, check it out, and then they're ready to get on the job. So like I said, this does reduce time. You know, if you guys know, on a job site, time is one of the most important assets. So the more time you save, the more time you have to work on the job. That's not going to put things behind, and it's going to keep everybody in line and make sure that things are running efficiently. Like I said, another thing that CribX does is it's going to reduce equipment or asset shrinkage. Job sites are messy, but also if you're on an open job site, or if you're on, you know, maybe an open parking lot where people are working outside of a manufacturing floor, job site theft is a real thing. So with CribX, it consolidates all that inventory into one place. And then you have our CribMaster hardware, which has security touch points that you have to go through, and then our software as well, to help keep that inventory, prevent stockouts, provide 24/7 tracking. And then, of course, if you're familiar with kits, assigning people different tools that they need. When somebody walks into the CribX and they need something, say the electrician on the site, they're not going to be taking the drywaller's tool. They know exactly what they need to get. They can check it out, and they're ready to go. So now I'm going to get into some features and benefits. And of course, I'm excited about this, but there's a lot of really cool stuff here. So like I mentioned, CribX is highly customizable. So pretty much you have 20 feet of container, about 115 square feet that you're working with, and you can fit about roughly 5 CribMaster machines in the CribX. And in the next slide, I'm going to get into all the different CribMaster machines that are supported in CribX, and then some that aren't. But there are a lot of different options depending on what you need and what your customer needs. So like I said, this works with almost any CribMaster machine. There's some configuration that I'll get into a little bit later, but there's a lot of space that you can work with here. And as you saw in that video, and you'll see in the tour a little bit later, there is a lot of room in this open container. So you might have your machines on one side, and you might have your open container space for shelving, pegboards to put PPE, different things like that on the other side of the machine. Or if you want to outfit the entire machine with just shelves, bins, pegboards, and have a POU for people to scan and check out, you can do that as well. But the key point here is that we can help you customize your CribX and your customer's CribX. to fit, any situation they might be in. And one thing that I do want to say is that the pegboards and shelving are not provided by CribMaster. That's something that your customer will have to provide for themselves. But we can, of course, give recommendations as we're helping you build this out. So like I mentioned, CribX supports most CribMaster machines. And you can see the different categories here. It's pretty much any and everything you need. There are a few that aren't. And, once I start naming them off, it's going to make sense. Like an AccuPort, you wouldn't want to put an AccuPort in this thing. That just doesn't make sense. FlexSense as well, just because as you're moving the unit, since this is a mobile unit, or it can be a mobile unit if it needs to be, that can be kind of hard to secure and lock down. And that is something that you have to think about when you're moving the CribX, like I said, if you want it to be mobile. But other than that, it's pretty much up to, what your customer is going to need. So cabinet and locker solutions like Multi-Store and ProLock, carousel like our classic toolbox, our Pro Stock, drawer machines like our new or elites don't work with us. But again, as you're working with your sales rep and working with your account manager to kind of go through, what is needed, will help you make recommendations. Another point as well is that if you have existing CribMaster solutions that you want to use in the CribX, you can bring those into it. Just make sure that, when your customer are having conversations with your account manager or your sales rep, just make sure that you let us know that you have those. And then we can make sure that we put that into the plan as we're helping configure everything. So like I mentioned, there are a lot of cool things about this, and there's a lot of support and things that come included. We're not just taking the CribX and plopping it on the job site or outside the manufacturing floor and saying good luck. There's a lot of support here. There's a lot of different features, like I said, that are included as you purchase it. They're really going to make this thing durable, comfortable for the people that are using it, and just make it an overall better experience. So it does come with commercial AC and heat. It would be criminal to put a CribX in, say, South Florida during the summer or Northern Michigan during the winter. So this does come standard. Also insulation and weather seal, so you don't have to worry about your machines if they're on a job site and it's raining. LED lights and power, which is great. Cellular, Wi-Fi, and Ethernet connectivity. And one thing I will say is that CribMaster does not provide the cellular service. That's something that your customer is going to have to provide for themselves, but it is there. Available camera system. So this is really cool and kind of adds into the security play of that. So what you'll do is if you want that footage, you can either access the SD card on the network, or you can take it out, but it is available. One thing that I will say about that is that the footage is not stored in the CribMaster software, so that's where that SD card comes in. This does come painted with industrial grade, high durable paint, so no chipping, no wearing. And then when you do purchase a CribX, it does come with 3 custom branded graphics. And you can work with us and our team to get those designed. And, overall, it's just a really good looking machine. It has a lot of different features included. And, it's not just for creature comforts for the people that are using it, but it helps protect the machines and the hardware as well. Like I mentioned with configurability, you can think about 2 ways to do this, but like I said, it's open to the imagination and whatever your customer needs. But really, you can look at it 2 ways. There's the open stock option. So you would have the POU kiosk, and then you could outfit the CribX with as many shelves, bins, pegboards that you need. Have those barcodes up for that inventory or PPE, and then somebody can just come in and go and scan what they need and then get back on the job. And then also there's the vending option as well. So of course, as I mentioned in those earlier slides, you can outfit the CribX with, pretty much any CribMaster machine. And with that, when we do deliver the CribX, it is going to come with those machines inside, but some installation is going to be required. And that's not any different than any other CribMaster installation that, you've already gone through or you're already used to. But again, all of our teams across the business are here to help you every step of the way and then beyond that. So I mentioned security before. This is really going to help with asset shrinkage, job site theft, and there are 2 security points that somebody needs to get through in order to get to the CribX and, vend what they need. So there's access control outside of the container, and that's provided by our end gate. So somebody's going to need to scan their badge, and they're going to need to have clearance to go into CribX. And then, of course, there's authentication at each machine. So that's really going to depend on, what you have in there, but somebody's going to have to scan their badge. They're going to have that inventory assigned to them, and then they can take it out. So with that, I'm going to get into some of our marketing activities. And when I go through this isn't just stuff that we're doing. This is stuff that we want to get you guys involved with to drive demand with your customers. So the cool thing about this is that even if you don't have a designated marketing person at your company, all of this stuff is already created for you. We're going to be sharing it, and I'll get into that, and we're going to be providing it to you in our first ever digital launch kit, which again, I'll get into in a couple of minutes. So key messaging here is really everything that I've talked about before. CribX goes where the work goes. So with this launch, we have 2 pieces to it, and we really wanted to share this with you to get you guys involved with the process so you know what's going on. So we're right now in the distributor outreach phase. So this is today with our CribX trainings. We do have one more training at 12 p.m. Eastern today. So if you have somebody in your office that wasn't able to join, you can get on our social medias and you'll find that link pretty much everywhere. We've been posting about it a lot. But we're going to be doing that today. We're going to be sending you your digital launch kit. And then around December 7th, we'll be sending you a follow-up email just to remind you of everything that we're doing in January, along with a schedule of all of our social and email communications so you know exactly when stuff is coming out. And then, as I mentioned, in January through February, probably around the 2nd week of January, we're going to be doing a digital marketing campaign. And this is some of the stuff that is going to be included in that campaign and some of the stuff that we're going to be making available to you. So since COVID and restrictions on travel, people really taking safety into account, it is hard for people to get on site to be able to, look at CribX, tour CribX, demo CribX. So we wanted to make it easy for people to see as much as possible. So we do have a 3D tour that's going to be available. If you've ever gone on Zillow and done a 3D tour of a house, this is exactly like that. You can click through the CribX. There are different facts and features that you can see and, really look at the machine. We also have some videos available that are going to be on our YouTube. So if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you are. And then we can make those videos available to you as well in the digital launch kit. We're going to be having some PR and press that we'll be sharing in January, as well as some construction influencer endorsements, which really quickly, if you don't know what an influencer is, it's pretty much a thought leader in that space. So it's really going to get a lot of eyes on CribX and CribMaster. And then we're also going to collaborate with one of our sister brands, DeWalt, if you didn't know. And that's just to help expose us to, their big construction audience. And really the key point here is that we're getting CribX and CribMaster in front of about 3 million potential viewers, which again is exciting. It gets the word out there. And you guys will be included in that as well and know exactly when we're doing it. So really quickly, I'm going to go into something that I'm super excited to send you guys, but it's our first ever digital launch kit. So essentially what this is it's a packet that we'll be sending you after this meeting. Look for it around 1 p.m. Eastern after we do our final training. But essentially what this does is it sets you up for success so you can promote with us. So whether you have, just a website or you have social website email, we're going to give you everything that you need in order to, like I said, drive demand from your customers. So this digital launch kit is going to have social graphics, sales collaterals, images that you can use on your website, that you can use on social, that you can use in presentations. We will make the video that I showed at the beginning of the presentation available on YouTube. But if you do need the MP4 file, please reach out to one of your account reps or your sales rep, and we can get that to you. We're going to have this presentation as well, along with the recording. So if you had somebody on your team that wasn't able to join, you can share that with them. And then an opt-in QR code. So what this is going to do is you open up your phone, you scan it, and it'll bring you to a landing page where you or your customers or somebody on your team can subscribe to our CribMaster emails. So that way you guys are seeing everything that we're pumping out in January and February right when it's coming out. And really quickly, we're going to go into availability, and then I'll show you guys that tour, and then we'll get into the Q&A. I already see some questions popping up, so super excited about that. So really quickly on availability, CribX is currently only available in the US, but that does not mean that we're not looking at other markets. Our teams are working to determine availability for the rest of North America and then other countries as well. But just know that we are working on it, so we haven't forgotten about you. Lead time is about 8 to 12 weeks, and that does not include transit time. And one thing to kind of keep in mind when you're thinking about lead time too is the machines that are going to be involved if you do decide to have multiple machines inside the CribX. But again, when you're working with our team, we can help you kind of determine and anticipate what that time is going to be. So without further ado, I will get into our tour with Mr. Kevin Goodman here. And again, we can make this video available to you as well. So if somebody on your team would like to watch it, just shoot us an email and we can send it your way.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Goodman. I'm a training specialist here at CribMaster, and today I'd like to show you around our latest product called CribX. The first layer of security is actually gaining access to the CribX, and we do that with the CribMaster software called MGate. MGate verifies that the correct user is logging in and releases a magnetic lock that we'll talk about here on our door. So the MGate operates a very powerful magnet which engages our magnetic strike plate here. When an authorized user badges in, it releases the magnetic lock, allowing access to the inside of the crib. So once we're inside the tool crib, the CribX, we have this tiny computer over here, and its primary function is to operate the MGate security system. It can be converted and upgraded to support a barcode system, which will allow you to scan barcodes and issue materials inside and outside of the CribX. Now, once I'm inside the CribX, it works like any other tool crib or tool room that CribMaster may manage for you. You can have a very simple solution where we're using barcode scanners on shelving systems. Keep in mind that the shelving system and the pegboard system are not CribMaster solutions. Those would have to be added after the fact by the distributor or the customer, or we can have very secure solutions with our fancy schmancy machines over here. They will operate just like any other tool room that CribMaster has machines in. Simply badge in, tell it what you want, maybe tell it how many you want or why you need them. Door pops open, I take my tool and I go do my job. So if you're operating in northern Minnesota in December or southern Florida in July, you'll be happy to know that the unit is climate controlled. It's insulated. We have a thermostat that regulates the temperature inside the unit, not only for creature comfort, but for our machines. Should you choose that solution, they have a very specific operating temperature, so we keep it climate controlled inside. So this is the vent for the HVAC. It's important that we keep that clear when we're designing the CribX. We want to make sure that we don't put any shelving in front of it because we need good airflow inside the machine in order to make the HVAC work properly. In addition to that, we have several outlets, both on both walls on the side and in the back in case you have rechargeable tools, something like that. We got plenty of power to support most of your needs. So we want to keep track of all the transactions that are happening from the CribX to the database. In order to do that, we have to get that information back to the database. So we got a router box up here, and it's configurable. We can use a cellular service if we set that up. Keep in mind that the customer will have to set that up. We can use a Wi-Fi connection to do that, or we can hardline into this router box up here. The router box is secure, so we can lock it and keep people out of it. If I open it up, you can see my router in there. And in this particular case, we're hardwired in, right? Another option with the CribX is the security camera. Now, the security camera does not interface with the CribMaster software, so I can't go into the CribMaster software, download images or videos, but I can remove the SD card from the camera, insert it into my PC, and view the data, the videos and pictures. Another feature that's included with the purchase of your CribX is custom graphics. Those are included in the purchase, so we can put your logo, co-brand, whatever you want to do on the side of the CribX. This thing uses a twisted plug connection, and for those who aren't familiar with that, if you have a high voltage washer or dryer at home, it's that offset plug that has to be connected via a certified electrician, so you'll have to plan for that when we're setting this thing up on site. In addition to that, we want a nice level surface. We want not a lot of noise going on around it, not a lot of vibration.
All right, awesome job. If you guys have ever had the pleasure of training with Kevin, you guys know he is awesome at explaining things, so thanks for that. So without further ado, I know we ran a little bit over, but we are here for you guys, so if we need to keep a little extra time to answer some questions, we can of course do that. But let's go ahead and get into the Q&A portion of this training. Looks like we have a lot coming in. All right, a lot of good questions, guys. And these questions will be published when we do answer them. So if anyone else has similar questions. All right, what are the power requirements?
Sorry, power is 120 volts AC, 15 amps, and like Kevin just mentioned in his tour, it will be a twisted plug. So you need a certified electrician to provide you with the power outlet or power cable. It will depend on your environment and your supply of power.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Melanie. Awesome question from Robert Newman. Are the camera options customizable to work with existing systems like Lintel or Genetec, or can the customer do that work?
That's around, I don't have an answer, but we can definitely check and get back.
All right, sounds good. We've gotten a few questions about this, but would the container part of the system, or would CribX as a whole be available for short-term rental, about 2 years, or be available for rental? Katie, it looks like you are muted.
Can you guys hear me now? That seems to happen at least once in every meeting. But
hey, it's Zoom.
I know. Currently, we do not have a rental program, but I would say to engage in that conversation with your account manager or sales rep, just to have that conversation to see if there's an opportunity that you guys could work together to resolve. So I would defer that.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Katie. I partially know this answer, but this is a pretty good one from Russell Daniels, and this could kind of play into the different locations that you would want CribX. But does CribMaster offer a vending solution for flammable liquids like degreasers, solvents, and aerosol lubricants?
It's not supported today, some of the restrictions around those materials. So if you have a very specific environment and an application, please reach out to your sales manager and we can discuss the opportunity.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Melanie. So I've gotten a few questions about securing the different machines. So how are the vending machines locked in place inside the CribX so they don't fall over during transport to another site?
So in the video, you could see some like black bars attached to the walls. That's called an in-track system, and each machine gets strapped to the wall during transportation. That's why it makes it easier to adjust the machine and position the CribMaster machines against the wall. If you decide you want to move the container from one side to the other, just attach the machines back to the wall and they're all secure. There is a pouch inside the container that will hold all the straps for you so you don't lose them and you can reuse them in the future.
All right, awesome, great question. Thanks, guys. We talked about the requirements in the video, so it might be a little easier to reference there, but Kevin, do you mind kind of going over that again just for everybody? Kevin, you're muted, sorry.
Say that one more time, please, since I was answering a question from John. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So we touched on it in the video, but do you mind going over power requirements again? We've gotten a few questions about that.
Sure, it's 120 VAC, 50 amps, and twisted plug connection. So it's just like if you have a fancy schmancy washer dryer. It's got those offset plug connectors. Those have to be set up with a certified electrician. So that's something you'll have to account for when we're presenting this to your customers, that they'll have to have one come out and actually set that connection up at the job site. Mm-hmm. So it's not as simple as just plug it into the wall, right?
But of course, if you guys have any questions during this, if your customers have questions, you know that our entire team is here to support you. If you're familiar with that support, then we're here for you. So I've gotten a couple questions about accessibility, and I think this is just good for the whole group, but can CribMaster allow some users to have access to the container, but then inside only have access to specific vending devices?
Kevin, can you, you're muted, but mute Kevin.
There we go.
There you go.
That is 100% true. Just using our normal security access, we can allow access to the crib, but then if we want to exclude or include folks to specific machines or specific items, that's all embedded already into the CribMaster software. So no different than any other tool crib or tool room that CribMaster operates.
Also, I saw a few questions around what controls the container access, and it is MGA.
Cost of the unit with different machines, make sure to have that conversation with either your account manager or your sales rep, and we can work out that pricing for you.
I had a question about the FlexSense. Someone wanted to know why are we not recommending the FlexSense for this machine. And it basically has to do with how the FlexSense operates. It needs a nice stable environment in order, because if you remember how the FlexSense works, it doesn't report each individual transaction. It reports bulk transactions. So it's very difficult to make that work in this environment.
Yeah, and if you think you still need FlexSense and that is the right solution for you, contact your sales rep, because if your environment is stable enough and level enough and there's some requirements that are met, we can work with you to decide if that is a good option for you.
The next question I got was, does the weigh station have the same restrictions? And that is no, because of the way the weigh station reports each transaction individually, so it has time to account for the differences.
Mm-hmm. It's also closed with a door as well, right. So that helps also with the.
Right.
So the major difference is weigh station only scans when you open and close the door, while FlexSense is scanning all the time. So if FlexSense is more sensitive and might be affected by vibration and that kind of thing.
So one last question before we wrap. Don't want to get everybody kicked out of the Zoom, but this is on MGate. Is the MGate a new version compared to the historical system that has the Z bracket?
I don't know what they're referring to the C bracket, but overall, like 90% of MGate is the same, except the door lock, it's a little bit different. Before we had the magnetic lock, and today is just an electrical striker that would let the door open and close.
Yep. You don't have to install that that magnet for the MGate. It's already incorporated into the door.
Yeah.
Okay. I said that was the last question, but we just got a really good one. So I'm going to get this one and then we can wrap. Is the customer responsible for the shipment and offloading of the machine? That's a really good question.
We are transporting or coordinating transportation between our facility and the customer's facility. And then the unload process, the customer will be responsible.
Send it to your account manager, to your sales rep, and we will happily get back with you. So we're about 7 minutes over, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap. But I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your morning for this. We are incredibly excited about the solution. It really is going to be a game changer, and we hope that you guys are excited about it too. So look out for that digital launch kit with all that cool stuff inside. Even though we're posting in January, you guys can start posting now. So get people excited, get your customers amped up, because we are, and we hope you guys are too. So hope everybody has a great rest of their day. And thanks again for joining us. Bye, guys.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.